This is your second program to create strength and endurance and balance throughout your whole nervous system. Exercise number 1. This is called the Pilates single leg stretch. You're going to roll your pelvis into imprint, which means using Mula Bandha, your pelvic floor and lower abs, roll your hip bones towards your ribs, engage your glutes. We're going to go head in the hands and then contract the whole abdominal wall, that's Uddiyana Bandha, to come up into flexion of your spine. That means curving the upper back. Lifting your knees from there, and then we're going to extend the right leg forward. Your knees are pointing to the ceiling, and you're pulling in your abdominal wall. And this is 7 and 8. You're opening your toes, reaching your big toe, this part of the foot, a bit more forward than the other toes. And 12, it changes the action in your hip and your lower back and through your glute. 14 and 15 and 16 and 17 and 18 and 19. Pull your navel in. 20, 10 more, and 1 and 2. We can start to lower it a little bit. 3 and 4. If you can't keep your back flat, start higher like there. Yeah, on a 60-degree angle. And 8 and 9 and 10. Okay, leaving your legs up, you're going to cross your right ankle in front of your left, and we'll go head down. Okay, backs to the shoulders on the floor. This is rolling your pelvis through imprint and slightly off the floor and roll back down. Your knees are lifting upwards, not toward your chest. 5. So you're controlling up on the way up and on the way down. Remember, the lower abdominals work the same way. I'm still scooping in from the tail to the navel on the way up and on the way down. And this is 7 and 8. Now to get there, a lot of people are weak in the lower abs. And 10, you might not be able to lift just yet. Other leg in front, other ankle, left ankle in front, back to the shoulders, down, 1. And drawing your tail to navel. Remember, you're lifting up and we're not going so high. Okay, you're only going to your navel. 6 and 7 and then 8. So we're not using your lower back, we're using your abdominals. And 10. Okay, taking your legs now into a Pilates V with your knees pointing up to the ceiling. Rotate your right knee out, hands behind the head. You're going to contract from your tail to your sternum. I'm going to take my sternum towards my right knee, and then I'm going to lower out. So we're using your inner thigh muscles and lower, and there's a turn in your back as you lift up and across. Okay, so you've got to go up first. Contract. So this is an oblique crunch. 9 and 10. We're going to do 20, 11, lifting the knee, keeping the knee turning out. I'm pressing down my left heel, engaging that left glute. And 14, come up and across. 15, shoulders back. 16, so the flexions in your abdominals. I'm not rounding my shoulders to get up. And 19 and 20. Right away, other side, rotate left, contract. So we've got your right heel pressing down, engage your right glute, and 4. So we are coordinating. 5, your inner thigh muscles, rotating your hip out with your abdominal wall, your rectus abdominis, your transversus abdominis, and also your oblique muscles allow you to turn, okay, from your rib to your hip. And 15 and 16. We'll do 4 more, 17 and 18, keeping your left knee facing out, 19 and 20. Bringing your legs together, okay, not off to one side, together in line with your tailbone. Stretching your right leg down, and so my right leg is touching my left foot. Okay, Mula Bandha to the navel, squeezing the hips and the glute meads. Back to the shoulders down on the floor. I'm going to lift up the right leg, knee faces my head, squeeze the glutes, lift your hips, lower your hips and lower your leg. Lift your leg and lift your hips and lower and engage, engage, lift, engage more, lift and lower and lower. Mula Bandha lifts your leg, glutes, and then press down your left foot, lower your hips and leg, and lift your hips and lower and lower. And this is 5, and lift your hips and lower, and then the leg, and 6, and press and lower, and then the leg. Try and keep your legs together and lower, and this is 8. This is one action very important for your glute maximus. It's a bridge with one leg, a one-legged bridge, and 10, and press and lower and lower. Switching legs, lift your left leg, lift your hips, lower your hips, and then your leg. Lift your leg, squeeze, then lift. So your glutes need to do the exercise. Lift and press and lower and lower. So as you draw the glutes together, your hips are extending lower. So it's opening up the hip flexors gently. And remember, the glute max opens your hip flexors. 6, press down your right foot like you're going to jump off it. Open your toes and press and lower and lower. And this is 8. Relax your head and lower and lower. Mula Bandha lift. Squeeze the glutes and lower and lower. Knees together. That'll activate your inner thighs. Lower and lower. Okay, coming on to your left side, we're going to have your left elbow down, shoulders, hips vertical to the ceiling. Okay, so whatever's on the floor presses down. That's a really important principle in movement. Open your shoulders, engage your abdominals, engage your glutes. You're going to open your knee, your right knee to the ceiling as you push off your left shin and elbow and lower. So we're going to open and close, and open and close, and lift your hip and lower. So we're working this whole chain down your left side. 6, remember it's by pressing down your left elbow and your shin. And 8, Mula Bandha. 9, you'll feel your hip open with the glute med. 11, we're going to do 20 and 12 and 13, pressing down your shin, and 15 and 16, 17 and 18, 19 and 20. Okay, now we come up to your left hand. Your fingers are going to point to the side of your, well, to the front of your mat, I should say. Extend your left leg into a side plank. Try and have your left shoulder on top of your left wrist, and we're going to have your right leg stacked on top of your left leg. Okay, so hips pointing forward, and we're going to lift your right leg a little and lower. Lift and lower. So now you're pressing down your left hand and the outside of your left foot. And 5 and 6 And we're going to keep your knees facing forward and your shoulder blades down your back. And 9 and 10. And you're going to think about pulling your left wrist towards your left hip. And 15 and 16. We're going to do 20, 17, 18, 19 and 20. Okay, so that was your side plank. So now we are going to do a plank to the floor. So in our first series, we've learned that your hips are an imprint. They go down and under, lifting through your whole abdominal wall, engaging your glutes, opening your toes, and we're going to bend your elbows straight back, going to lie down on the floor. Roll your shoulders back again, imprint, and you're going to push up, ribs all the way up into your back. And you're going to lower down again. And imprint, and push up, and lower. Shoulders back, and press your blade to your hand, and lower down. And so you're going to get all the way up off the floor. And lower. And 5. Shoulders back. 6. Lower. Press your blade to your hand. 7. Lower. 8. Lower. 9. Lower. 10. Lower down to your knees. Now you're going to have your sit bones, your butt bones pointing back. Engage your abdominals, glutes together. And now we're going to open your right knee all the way to the side and bring it in. Open it and bring it in. So opening the knee towards the ceiling, knee, and bring it in. And this is 5, and I've got my knees underneath my hips. 6, and 7, and in, and 8, and in. So this is abduction and adduction. This is abduction of your right hip as you lift it up, and then adduction as you draw it in. 10, 11, and 12. And you're going to feel as you lift your right knee, 13, that your left glute med has to work harder the higher the right knee goes. 17, 18, 19, and this is 20. We'll do 10 more. And 1, and 2, 3, and this is such an important movement to sculpt your hip and lower back and your knee. 7 and 8, draw it in. 9, and really notice how this one feels. 10. Okay, lying on your right side, we're going to do those exercises first. So we've got your right elbow down and we've got your hips and shoulders stacked to the ceiling. Okay, make sure your shoulders back first because we're going to press up off it to open your knee into a clam and come down. Press off your right shin and elbow and come down. And 3 and 4. So it feels more comfortable to keep your arm free, that's fine. 6, or you can put it on your hip. 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. So we're going to do 20 of these. 11, shoulder back, and you're going to feel your ribs come up into your back, these side ribs. 15 and 16, 17, you'll feel it in this right glute to lift you up off the floor. 19 and 20. Okay, coming up to your hand, we've got outward rotation of the shoulder. So your your hand will face your whole wrist, middle finger straight to the edge of your mat. Okay, so you're gonna form your body into a side plank, okay, with abduction of your left leg. Out and in. 2 and 3 and 4, 5, keeping your right hand pressing down and the outside of your right foot. 8, and knees pointing forward. 10, small movement. 11 and 12, so engaging the whole right side. 14, 15, 16, so you're going to feel it here. 17, your right hip as well as your left hip. 19, 20. Okay, on this second side, we're going to do a frog plank. So you're going to open your knees and we're going to cross your ankles. We're just going to lie down on your front. Okay, shoulders back and engage your mula bandha imprinting, engaging your glutes, shoulders back. And you're going to push up, ribs into your back, lower down. And 2, and shoulders back. Pull up 3, and lower, imprint, engage abdominals first, then glutes and lower. And remember, you're coming up so you feel your sternum lift. And 7, elbows back. 8, and lower. 9, and lower, engage abdominals, glutes. 10, up to your knees. Knees together, sit bones point back. Okay, left leg abduction, knee out to the side and in. And 2, and in, shoulders back. 3, and in. You're going to try and keep this same shape in the leg as you lift and lower. And 6, draw it in. And 7, and 8, again, you're going to feel it in your right hip as much as your left. And 10, your left leg is creating a resistance against what your right hip has to work against. 14, notice how this one feels. 16, compared to your right one. 17, remember, engage mula bandha first. 19 and 20, we're going to do 10 more. 1 and 2, pull up your navel. 3 and 4, 5 and 6, press down lightly your hands, press down your right shin. 9, and this is 30. Last exercise. Okay, cyclists get very tight in the hip flexors because you're in this bent position. There is a movement called the hinge where you work your hip flexors in what we call an eccentric, not a concentric range of motion. So the muscles aren't pulling together, they're working apart in a long action. So we're going to have your knees hip width apart. We're going to press down your shins. We're going to imprint. We're going to wrap your glutes into the tail, and you're going to lean back. So you've got to press down your shins and you're going to press them down to come up. So when you go back, pressing down your shins and up. Glutes on, so under with your glutes. And hinge back. 4, and you're going to really feel this here. And 5, and up. And 6, it's really important that you don't crunch in the hips, right? We're tucking under. 7, and up. We're going to do 10, 8, up, 9, and up. One more, 10, and up. And that's your second strength program.